Well, hey, it's good to see you again. My name is Jada Ben, and welcome back to another Wax Showcase video where you're my beacon in the avalanche of time. It's been a good couple of weeks since our last Wax Showcase video. We're on to edition 17. I've just been recently recovering from being a little sick and having a lot of things going on here at home, but hey, we're back. I'm feeling 100% now. I'm here to talk to you about some awesome music, including what is playing in the background just right over here today, and that is going to be Twin Dream by Glassing, released in 2021 on Brutal Panda Records. I talked about these guys and their last album on my 13th edition of Wax Showcase back in April, but this was the album that got me into them. This particular band was introduced to me by a mutual friend of mine, as well as one of the band members who she went to high school with. She's no longer here in the state of Texas. She has moved countries. But honestly, I am eternally grateful to her for showing me such an awesome band. Basically, I would say it's black metal with a little bit of post-hardcore and a whole lot of ambient stuff going on in here. Highly recommend checking these guys out. Some favorite tracks on here include Absolute Virtue, Twin Dream, Doppler, Where Everything Is Still True North, and At Long Last. Definitely worth checking out. I have the cassette version, which I just got in not too long ago, limited to 30 copies on clear shells. There's a few others out there, and they're a little hard to come by nowadays, but I'll link to it down in the description, so you can go check it out. And hey, tell them Jada Ben sent you. Glassing, Twin Dream, Brutal Panda Records playing in the background just right over here today. Okay, we're going to start today's episode with a band that we saw in concert not too long ago. As a matter of fact, 2 days ago, as of today's filming. It had been a little while since I'd been to a concert. That Bleed show I uploaded on YouTube was my last one, so it was good to get back into the swing of things. And we are talking about Drouth with the Teeth of Time, released in 2025, first independently, and then later on vinyl by Eternal Warfare Records. We had the pleasure of catching these guys at the 13th floor in Austin, Texas, just a couple of nights ago, and this album is nothing short of incredible. Just some nice, melodic, blackened death from Portland, Oregon, here in the United States. I had not heard of these guys prior. I was actually introduced to these guys through my friends in Void Witch, who I talked about in a previous video, also opened for them on this particular show. As you can see, in all of its glory, mine is signed 1, 2, 3, 4. But definitely a really, really good record. Some awesome tracks on here, such as Ho Your Thunderbolt, Even Unto Death, False Grail, the title track, and another favorite of mine, Exult Ye Flagellant. This is such an awesome, awesome record. Some of the nicest guys ever, seriously. I was very, very happy to have the chance to chat with them after the show. These guys are, it's not only just searing melodic lines, I'm also talking about just non-stop marathon black metal stylings all throughout. Such an incredible show, such an awesome, awesome band to finally see live. I listened to this in the car while we were driving to visit some family in Oklahoma. The particular variant that I have for this one is the clear with black smoke variant. I don't believe there was a limitation specified on this one, but I picked it up at the band's merch table. Either way, definitely seeing this live, I think, helps solidify my love for this record. And I could definitely see myself spinning it a lot more in the very, very near future. I can definitely see this being an Album of the Year contender. So if you haven't checked it out already, Drouth, the Teeth of Time, go ahead and check these guys out. Seriously, these dudes fucking rule. Speaking of bands we saw in concert not too long ago, this was 2 days before the Drouth show. We made our way to the Far Out Lounge to see the sets of Torture as well as Corpse Pile. This is their album Hardcore Death Metal, released in 2024 on Maggot Stomp Records. Once again, as you can see in all of its glory, mine is signed. This features 5 brand new tracks, a bunch of which we did end up seeing. Some favorites of mine being Every Dog Gets Put Down, Force-Fed Lead, Reality, and pretty much their catchphrase for this band, Fuck Your Life. These dudes, absolutely insane, super, super nice guys. Basically, this is music to turn your brain off to. I know death metal is kind of, like, mostly it's just low growls and chugs and all sorts of cool things, but these dudes just have such a unique element about them, such a nice swagger. These guys are out of Houston, Texas, so definitely worth supporting some fellow state journeymen. Their set was absolutely incredible. I'm gonna have the video up here on YouTube here in about a couple of days from the time this video is probably going up, but definitely worth checking out if you are a fan of that sort of modern stylings of death metal mixed with a little bit of hardcore music thrown in there. The particular variant that this one came on was the Eco Cherry, which was basically a red with black smoke. I'm not sure if you can see. There's some good smoke on that. Red with sort of black and white smoke. I don't believe there was a limitation specified for this one, but I know there's still copies available. Once again, I'm going to link to it down in the description. I absolutely love these dudes. I'm very, very excited to see what they've got planned next. I know they played a bunch of new stuff once again on that video, which I'll have up in a couple of days. So these dudes are definitely making some huge moves in the death metal scene. I highly recommend checking them out. Corpse Pile, hardcore death metal, check them out. Okay, we're going to kind of stay in sort of that modern 2025 vein, but we're going to go with a band that has some definite old school influences. I am talking about Gruesome with Silent Echoes, released in 2025 on Relapse Records. This is basically Matt Harvey, Gus Rios, Robin of Castrator, and I believe Sebastian Phillips. This is basically their love letter to the past works of one Chuck Schuldiner. This particular release, in case you can't quite tell by the logo and by the cover itself, this is their love letter to Human by Death. It's one of my personal favorite death metal albums of all time, and when I saw that these guys were doing a tribute album for it, I said I had to have it. There's no way I was going to go without this one, and I dare say I think this is Gruesome's best work to date. Some awesome tracks on here include A Darkened Window, Frailty, my personal favorite being the track Shards, as well as Fragments of Psyche, which was released a good couple of years ago, and I believe it had the drummer of Cynic on there at the time, the now no longer with us drummer of Cynic on that track, though this was re-recorded for this particular record. Either way, you can still tell the influence was in there. This particular album is nothing short of incredible. I had the pleasure of seeing Gruesome back in 2022. I don't remember the other particular bands on the bill. I'll put them on screen here if I can remember them off the top of my head. But I do remember it being an awesome show. I'm surprised not many people turned up to that show, but I had an absolute blast seeing Chuck Schuldiner's work basically live on through these guys. It's basically as if Chuck Schuldiner was still alive and making music nowadays. This is, I have a feeling, what this would sound like. The particular variant for this one is the custom tricolor merge with splatter, which I believe was a swamp green and white merge with blue, white, and green splatter. Definitely an awesome, awesome variant from Relapse Records. This one sold out in a matter of only an hour. So I was surprised it sold out so dang fast. I definitely pounced on it when I was able to. Seriously, once again, I think Gruesome's best work to date. I can also see this being a strong, strong Album of the Year contender. And if you like that sort of old school death metal stylings, I think this would be right up your alley. Gruesome with Silent Echoes. Check them out. Seriously, this record rules as well. We're going to continue this sort of death metal, modern death metal heavy episode on with yet another release from this year, and I am talking about Body Box with 3, released in 2025 on Maggot Stomp Records. We had the pleasure of catching these guys in June or January of 2024, a good year ago. Definitely a whole bunch of tracks on this played, and oh, would you look at that. There are 2 copies here. We have the standard edition, and we have the one-off Dale Earnhardt cover. In case you didn't know, these dudes are from the South. These guys love their NASCAR. These guys love low-tuned, chuggy, growl death metal that you can turn your brain off to. Seriously, what an absolute awesome record. Love the alt cover on this one. Some favorite tracks on here being Real Cocaine Muzak, Scante, Cletus, Loyal to the Foil, and Meth Dog being some awesome tracks on here. We had the pleasure of chatting with Harrison after their show, and he's one of the most wholesome individuals I have ever had the chance of meeting. I'm glad that they ended up getting signed to Maggot Stomp Records and that they ended up dropping this album, because it felt like such a long time without hearing some of these tracks. Once again, these dudes are nothing short of incredible, and I wish them all the success in the world. Got the interliners here. There is Mr. Harrison right there. Lovely, lovely human being. I hope he will be back here in Austin before too long. The particular variants for this one, we have Milky Clear with bubblegum, pink and white splatter. And we have my special one-off edition, which is basically just this red and black ghostly effect with the alternate fentanyl pill labels. There were only 25 of these. Each one of them was unique and different from the others. It's so gorgeous. Burlington Record Plant did an absolutely incredible job on this one. And inside of that special bonus edition came a 3D lyric insert with some awesome custom Maggot Stomp body box 3D glasses. I don't intend to use these, so we're just going to leave them exactly like it is here, but full-on custom poster. There was also an alternate cover version of the bubblegum pink and white splatter version that had both of these, as well as an alternate 3D cover. But this is definitely an album worth checking out. These guys are onto such massive things right now. They recently just played Daytona Speedway, where unfortunately Mr. Dale Earnhardt had passed away, so I think that's a good way to honor his legacy. I can see these guys going very, very far. I think this is only the beginning for them. Body box with 3. Go ahead and check these guys out. These dudes rule. I love the work that Maggot Stomp's been doing as well. So seriously, go check these guys out and see it for yourself. And finally, we are going to round off today's episode with not a new record, but an old classic, and one that I talked about in the 10 releases I am looking for video that I did just about a year ago. This particular release is very, very hard to find. I'm so glad I have a copy of this in my collection now. And I definitely think that this is one of my most expensive records in my collection, and you're about to see why. I am talking about I Declare War Amidst the Bloodshed, released originally in 2007 on Compton Records, later redone in 2021 on Wax Vessel Records. This particular release is just sheer, awesome, guttural MySpace deathcore. One of my favorite deathcore bands going. The whole story between me and my relation to not only this record but I Declare War is that my brother and I discovered them at a little antique shop in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Not this particular release, but a future release later on. I believe it was their 2011 album. I went back and just absolutely fell in love with those tracks. Went back and started discovering the band's catalog, which led me to discover not only this EP, but Wax Vessel Records in general. This is where I discovered that Wax Mage was doing pressings for awesome deathcore, death metal, grindcore, and awesome releases through that label. Once I laid my eyes on this particular record, I knew I had to find a copy of this. I didn't think it would take me so long. I think I've been after this for the better part of about 4 or 5 years now. But that wait is finally over. My brother is lucky enough to own an OG CD copy as well, which goes for about 80 to 100 bucks. But this particular vinyl variant is nothing short of gorgeous. I picked this up through a Wax Vessel collector who was selling it in a Facebook group, though I believe I made the purchase of this through Discogs. And it's only fitting that the record Amidst the Bloodshed deserves a titular variant in the name of amidst the bloodshed with this reverse center burst, limited to 50 copies, pressed by Wax Vessel, pressed by Wax Mage Records. This particular release crosses a major album off of my bucket list. We're going to do an updated video here in a couple of months, but this particular one scratches a massive collector's itch for me. I'm so happy to have this in my collection. My very first Wax Vessel signature pressing. I've got a few more on the way, but this one means the world to me. I declare war with Amidst the Bloodshed. I'm going to leave the link to the Bandcamp down in the description so you can go listen to it. I think the vinyl of this is going to be still very hard to find, especially as it gets older, but I have a copy now. That's all that matters. I declare war amidst the bloodshed. Well, that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. For those of you living in the United States, there are no kings in this country. There are no tyrants. We the people mean everything. Fuck ICE, fuck Donald Trump. Stay safe, stay metal, and I'll see you next time.